And Cedar Rapids I'm going to talk to some folks that are just here at the campus scene. We just have Anita Turner and Bernie Sanders. You guys, you're from California originally, but you go to school here. You're also from California?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, so you guys are college students here. Are you going to be caucusing on Monday night for Bernie Sanders?
We're undecided right now.
Yeah, we used to work for the Cory Booker campaign, and so we are making the final decisions today. Yesterday we went to a Warren event, today the Sanders event, and teach me them too for us. But we will be caucusing tomorrow.
Okay, so you guys don't know. So what did Nina Turner say to you today that could sway you to be a Bernie person versus a Warren person?
Well, she's passionate as always. You know, we both really respect Nina Turner as well as Ayanna Pressley, who is speaking for Warren. We are both people of color. We're both students of color, so their voice matters a lot to us when we're talking about white candidates. Bringing those issues to the forefront is the most important thing for us.
You know, and I don't disagree with that. Let me ask you a question though. Do you sort of feel sometimes that identity politics doesn't match policy that actually helps people of color? Like sometimes I feel like white candidates can say I'm this, I'm that, or the other, but they don't really, if you look at their record, it's not entirely consistent.
Yeah, that's certainly true, and we feel that way about some other candidates who have large black.
I'm going to go with Biden.
And then you hear him say things like I'm not even sure if weed should be legalized. I'm not sure if we should decriminalize marijuana. And we see that predominantly
can be just as bright and as talented as white students.
Right. Comments like that are big trigger
warnings. Biden's a
racist.
I don't even know why this is even up for discussion. I'm just going to say that right now. One thing I miss about Cory Booker's candidacy is a very funny guy. Did you ever get to meet him? Or?
Yeah, we met him a few times. His dad jokes really lightened up the campaign trail, I feel like.
So, and his Rosario Dawson, his girlfriend, is a big Bernie supporter.
Yeah, that's true. And we have also met Rosario Dawson, and
she's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's super kind. I think she reflects Cory Booker in a very positive light, as well as Bernie Sanders.
I think she's been a really solid left-leaning, cool influence on him because he used to be a little bit more corporate than he is now. I think I've seen a shift in the way he perceives things. Do you think that's right or no?
Cory Booker?
Yeah.
I think yes and no. If you go back and watch Street Fight, his documentary, I think it was up for an Oscar back in the early 2000s. You see that he fights for policies for social justice and criminal justice reform. But Rosario Dawson, I think, kind of brought him a little bit more out of the limelight of Congress and more into the limelight of the people.
Yeah,
and I think that's
fair.
I think that's a very good point to notice.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So now let's talk about Elizabeth Warren for a second. Do you find any of her policies to not be particularly friendly to people of color? And let me be frank. Yeah. How do you feel about her registering as a white person at the University of Texas, then turning around and saying that she was Native American many years later? And clearly, I think this was clearly done to benefit her. It was a career move. I don't know if I'm being cynical here, but that's how it seems to me. What do you think on that?
I'm not a fan of that.
If I could just speak from a little bit of personal experience.
100%.
My family.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
We're just taking these tables in now.
Okay, I'll agree with that. My family is part Native American, but yeah, it's a small percentage and we actually don't know how much of my family members were Native American or what percentage, because when you're Native American back in the day, you had to get rid of records so the government wouldn't come after you. So we've lost a lot of those records in my family history, so I tend to avoid saying that I'm Native American for those purposes. I didn't experience the Native American experience. You know, Indigenous people are arguably the most discriminated against. It's hard to even put into words when they're living in poverty. They don't have fair health care, anything.
Resources
right.
Their reservations. I don't think that's a controversial statement.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Indigenous women are the number one demographic that has unreported rape cases and unsolved murder cases, all of that. Yeah. So it was very offensive. I think she's done all that she can to kind of take that comment back, those comments back. But it's a little hard to let go. I will admit, it's a little hard to brush past.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You shouldn't have to let it go. I mean, this is like. So I'm speaking as a white person. I'm Jewish too, so I have a little bit of understanding, but I ask because I think that's another form of colonization in a way, isn't it? Because this is somebody that's definitely privileged.
That's true, and we're looking at a slate of candidates right now that
I'm being frank, and I'm curious about your position.
Right.
So, what other events are you guys going to today?
I think this is it for us today. We're going to do some final research, a little bit more on specific policies. I'm studying political science and social injustice, social and criminal justice, so those issues are the most important to me, so I'm going to look up a little bit more of the specific policies, especially when it comes to decriminalization, voter restoration for criminals, with nonviolent offenses, all of that stuff. So
so I'm only going to ask you this because you're studying political science. I think this is a very important distinction. Do you see a big difference between decriminalization and legalization? Does that make sense when I'm talking about the difference here?
I think that they have to go hand in hand. When you look at a state like California and we see predominantly white people profiting off of the marijuana industry, I mean, they're making millions of dollars off of things that people are serving 20, 30 life for in prison, and those people are predominantly black and brown people.
Yep.
I think it has to be a part of the conversation. I don't think that you can have one without the other.
Well, I guess it's because there are some people that want to separate those two
That's true.
conversations.
That's very
and I
true.
think we should fight for full legalization, and I think anybody that's been arrested under these ridiculous charges should be released from prison. End of story. I don't think there's a conversation that should be had here. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, seems like a radical idea to a lot of people.
I think it does at the forefront. You tell people we want to decriminalize marijuana, and they automatically think, oh, criminals are going to get out of jail. But when you really look at it, and then they're going to be flooding the streets. But that's not the reality of it.
No,
that's not the reality of it.
And
we're talking about.
Criminals. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Let me ask you this other thing then. I also believe strongly that when Bernie Sanders says that felons should have the right to vote. That's absolutely fundamentally true. This is a democracy still. There are a lot of people that are in jail for things they didn't commit. We have poor folks that couldn't post bail, so they've just been sitting there waiting trial for 2-3 years. None of this is unheard of statistics. At the same time, there's something, I don't know if you've studied this yet, called prison gerrymandering. Is this a term that's... So you have these prisons that are taking the prison populations, they're adding them to their district, and they're counting them for their congressional representation, right? But they don't have a right to vote. This is fundamentally jacked up.
100%. And I was actually just listening to an NPR Code Switch podcast, and they were talking about the prison gerrymandering system and everything. And if you talk to representatives, they don't visit the prisons, and yet they are a key portion of their district population. And a lot of these prisoners don't even feel like they're a part of the community.
Well, but they're not. I mean, if anything, they should be counted to wherever their home is, like where they actually.
Yeah, and they should be able to vote.
I agree.
A lot of these people that we're talking about, non-violent offenses, they're just normal people who got caught at the wrong time. Everyone commits illegal acts every single day. That's a proven fact.
Right. A few days and just
Right. I mean,
what are your thoughts? I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, so in regards to prison gerrymandering, when Angel was kind of telling me about that, it reminded me of learning about how, so I'm African American Studies major with a history minor, and so when thinking about that and thinking of early America and early Constitution and the differences between northern states and southern states wanting with representation is counting slaves as representation and like the 3/5 compromise. Yeah, so
100%.
when you have those prisoners that are being counted for representation and things like that, but they don't have a voice, it honestly reminds me of 3/5 compromise and things like that.
But that is what it is. It's just a different form of slavery. I mean, look, involuntary servitude is another form this takes. There are private prisons that are handing out contracts to companies like Victoria's Secret. They're paying the prison label like Michael Bloomberg. I'm going to For fuck's sake! Are you kidding me with this?
Prison labor? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm still not over this, honestly.
Me neither. Me neither.
But this is what's been going on in the United States, and I'm glad that this stuff is starting to kind of float out to the general public, because I think a lot of Americans are completely clueless about some of this stuff. I think when they hear it, they get repulsed, and they're like, what? That's not right. Because it's fundamentally moral on a certain level, right?
Yeah.
So, this is do or die, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? I mean, you're both millennials, right? Or wait,
Gen Z.
Yeah.
We're close.
You're so young, you're
Right.
I know, we're babies.
She turns 20 tomorrow.
Yeah, on Caucus Day.
Congratulations
Best
on
Caucus president ever.
Happy birthday. So,
Thank
what
you.
are your names again? So we have your names.
Angelina Ramirez.
And Harold Walewa.
All right, excellent. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, of course.